Still Punchline. I am still Samia Jufo, and this is still First News Nation, reminding you to follow us on social media handles, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as YouTube. You could also take a step further, enable notifications by clicking on the bell in your platform, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or it's on YouTube at First News Nation, so you will get latest updates on all our shows. Let's start up with the meat of the matter. Today, this episode about the Senate presidency for the forthcoming 10th Senate. We've had 9 assemblies so far, and this one, about to start in the month of June, will be the 10th Senate, and the battle royale has begun. Who will take over from Ahmed Lawan, currently the Senate president? We have options across the table, but from what it seems like from the ruling APC, we're going to have either the Southeast or the South, while the Senate will be having their elections. The House of Representatives as well will be determining who will be the leader. Currently, it's held by the Southwest, led by Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. But what's it going to look like? Which geopolitical zone will take over from the House of Representatives? But that's not the conversation today. The conversation now is about the Senate and leading the front runners. We're talking about former governors, both Akwa Ibom and Abia State. Senator Ojuzo Kalu, currently chief whip of the Senate, is running for Senate presidency, as well as former governor of Akwa Ibom State, former minister of Nigeria Affairs, and of course, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, like I said, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Both of them are vying for the seat. Well, irrespective of whatever you think across party divides, the APC, the ruling party, will determine who will be the Senate presidency, who will be the Senate president, actually. We're looking at 55 seats. The Senate APC won by 55 seats. That was just before they had the supplementary elections, in which APC gathered 4 more seats in Yobe, Sokoto, and Plateau states. Now they have 59 seats. So APC is holding 59 seats currently. The PDP has 36 seats. Labour Party has 8. SDP, those 2 seats are from one state, from Nasarawa State, the SDP. NNPP has 2 seats, YPP has 1, and APGA has 1. Now, if you put all the opposition parties together, all the parties I just mentioned, the PDP, the SDP, the Labour Party, the YPP, APGA, put all of them together, they only muster 50 seats. Meanwhile, the APC has 59, which means the Senate presidency will be determined by the All Progressives Congress, the ruling party. However, you need to talk to other party members, whether they be a party or not. So support will be garnered from across all political parties to make sure there is a united force, whoever will be contesting from the APC. But like I did say, the current frontrunner is Godswill Akpabio, as well as Ojuzo Kalu. Both of them are vying for that seat. And unfortunately, both of these gentlemen have pending corruption cases against them. Most recently, we talked about Ojuzo Kalu, as well as Godswill Akpabio, who was asked by the EFCC to report, and he had to jet out to the United States on health grounds, but he's still vying for that seat for Senate president. Now, we also have, if this is going to be looked at, if APC will be considering the Southeast and the South, there are other names that will be propped up for that particular race. We're also hearing that conversation has started. Currently, the governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer Dave Umahi, who is a senator-elect, is also running for Senate president, as well as former governor of Edo State, former chairman of the All Progressives Congress. I'm talking about Adams Oshomole. His Excellency Adams Oshomole is also vying for seats as Senate president. However, because of the standing rules of the Senate, which states that you must be a ranking member, you must not be a first-time senator to be considered, which means if you're a first-time senator like Adams Oshomole or the man in Ebonyi State, I'm talking about Engineer Dave Umahi, who are both first-time senators, you cannot vie for the post of Senate President in any election. So that cuts them out of it. However, if the rules are jettisoned, if the Senate rules are jettisoned and it's an open race, that means that all these men will be allowed to run for Senate President. There's also another man of the APC who is the oldest Senate member from the Southeast and South-South combined. Senator Osita Izunaso is also in the race. Actually, he recently went to visit the president to declare his ambition to run for Senate President. Now, if you're going to talk about who are the three contenders, if you're talking from the Southeast and the South-South, you should be mentioning Orji Okalu, Senator Osita Izunaso, as well as Senator Godswill Akpabio. These are the three names that are most likely going to be considered. But let's look at more of what will happen. The other principal officers like the chief whip, deputy chief whip, we also have other positions like majority and minority leader that will be determined by the political parties. Obviously, PDP will have to take the minority leader and APC will take the majority leader. However, question will also arise. Will religion also take a place in this? I don't think religion will become any serious issue at this point. A lot of people are thinking it will be most likely out of party interest as well as competence. Question of competence is another thing. But will we have religion? Will we decide, should we give it to someone from the South who is a Christian? Then you'll be looking at Senator Godswill Akpabio rather than Adams Oshoman if the Senate standing rules are jettisoned. But I don't think religion will take any place there. You can also talk about the Southeast. We're talking about Orji Okalu or Osita Izunaso. These are the possible options if we're going to look at that. Will Senator Ahmed Lawan have an opportunity to try again? I don't think so. Because if you're going by the way of zoning, if the APC will consider zoning, you realize that the current Vice President-elect Senator Kashim Shettima, who was also a member of this 9th Senate, he himself is from the Northeast Senatorial Zone, where currently the current Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, is from. So you can't have both men from the Northeast or from the same geopolitical zone vying for different positions. So because we have the Southwest as President-elect, we have the Northeast as Vice President-elect, you can't have the Senate President as Senate President with zoning principle in place. So these are the things that put Senator Godswill Akpabio in front if the South-South will be given the opportunity. Since 1999, the South-South has never held the position of Senate President. It's eluded them. We've had most other geopolitical zones, the Southeast have had this from 1999. They shouldn't be running for Senate President if you want to be actually fair, because from 1999, we've had about 5 Senate Presidents from the Southeast. All the states in the Southeast of Nigeria during President Obasanjo's administration from 1999 to 2007 have all tasted Senate President. So should the Southeast be given that opportunity again? If you're talking about fairness, from 1999, South-South has not had. But from 1960, yes, they have had, but we're not counting from 1960. If you want to consider 1960, you'll be thinking of Chief Dennis Osadebe, who was Senate President from 1960 to 1963. Yes, and he was from the Midwest region, which is now called the Delta and Edo states. That's from the South, if you're talking about from the year 1960. Something around 1979, between 1979 and 1983, we also had from Cross River State, Joseph Wyers, who recently passed on as Senate President, but we're not talking about that. Right now, we're talking from 1999, the South have not had it, and the tendencies are that the South will take it. And if the South takes it, then you might be looking at, of course, Akpabio. But let's not also forget, they also have PDP senators from the South. But this is not about the PDP. It's going to be determined by the APC. Other questions you have in your mind. Will the 10th Senate be like what the 9th Senate was, a rubber stamp Senate? It was well known that Senator Ahmed Lawan was the president's Senate President. We didn't really see the independence of the Senate as we saw during Bukola Saraki's time. If we have Godswill Akpabio, for instance, if it goes the way of Orji Okalu, will this also be a replay of what happened with Ahmed Lawan? Is this going to be a rubber stamp Senate? The tendencies are no. With the composition of men and women who are in the Senate, talking from the opposition parties and the ruling party, chances are that, it's going to be a robust Senate. It might not be a rubber stamp Senate. Whoever the Senate president is, if he's able to survive 4 years as Senate president. So I don't think that will be what to be considered as we go forward. But we're looking at the predisposition of whoever will be Senate president. This president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be looking for a Senate president that will be able to work with him, whether he's going to do his wishes, whether he's going to be tooting his horn like Ahmed Lawan did. Quite unfortunately, we don't know. But let's look at how these candidates will fare if this pans out. And we're also looking at some senators from the North Central region saying, well, they put their support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become president-elect. They should also have a day in the sun. Actually, if you look at it from 1999, the North Central has also produced Senate presidents. If you look at Benue State, we've also had Benue State, as well as before 1999, Benue State has offered a Senate president. Now we had David Mark, also Senate president from the North Central region. We also have Bukola Saraki from the Kwara State as Senate president. So you can't really put North Central. In fairness, if justice, equity, and fairness needs to be played, then you're talking about the South-South taking over as Senate president. Now, the two leading candidates have corruption cases against them. Is this going to be a determining factor? Will the APC look the other way and decide whatever happens, let's just give it to them? Is that going to be the case? What will these corruption cases do when we talk about objectivity? Will the Senate president kneel to the executive to make sure that, he's always in right standing so he doesn't get, chased around by the EFCC or the anti-graft agencies in general? That needs to be looked into. However, come June 13th, the Senate will decide who will be their leader from the year 2023 all the way to year 2027. Let's see how that pans out. But there's going to be a lot of lobbying and power tussle will take place. A lot of former governors will be in the Senate. So everyone is coming with their own bags of money and their influence. How the Senate president will be able to manage all these people, hopefully a very robust opposition, as well as the APC as it stands, is left to be seen. We'll watch to see how that works out. I'm Sami Ajifo. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all our social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at First News Nation, as well as go ahead and enable notifications by clicking on the bell. So every time we have a new show, you will know. For this episode, if you have questions, if you have comments, drop them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.